Welcome back to another episode of Voices from the Field. We have a really fun guest on today. She is one of our Extra Impact ambassadors and someone that we are so excited to talk about. She seems like she's very mature for her age and she's really got a grip on, what's important, how to compete, and how to really be an elite level player. So really excited about her, but I really wanted to kind of start off talking about our ambassador program a little bit before we begin. So I'll say a little bit and then Carrie, I'm going to let you kind of come in, especially when we
Absolutely.
get to the commit crew and all that fun stuff. So our ambassador program is a 6-month long program, and it is comprised of any age athlete. Anybody can apply as long as you're playing travel softball. And we really just go over how to truly empower, inspire, and support the next generation of softball players through mentorship, through branding yourself, through advocacy, and so many more topics that are so important, not only on the field, but also just in life in general, especially in the world of NIL now and all these athletes getting paid money for their brand. We really think it's important to not only build them up as a person, but also help them create a brand if they want to. So that's kind of a little bit about us. We will have applications opening up in the fall. This round of ambassadors started in February and we'll go through August, and then we will open up applications again in the fall. So that's a little bit about it. Carrie, I kind of want you to come in with all the fun guests that we've been able to have on our ambassador
Right,
calls.
right. Well, I think the ambassador program, Katie did such a great job of getting it off the ground last year. And it's one of the things that I've been the most excited about being involved when I joined extra inning softball, because it's a group of young women. Obviously the requirement is it's free. It doesn't cost you anything, but you have to be a subscriber to extra inning softball. So it does cost you something, but it's cheaper than Netflix every month. So it's something that's pretty cool. We like to bring in, for example, like our commit crew, we have 6 from the class of 2026 that are committed to Power 4 schools, from Arkansas to Georgia to Alabama to Ole Miss. I'm sure I'm missing one in there, and I'm sorry, I can't remember that. I'm getting old. But they are willing to get on and share their experience, whether it's from being young to going older, or if it's to start the recruiting process. We've even had it to where they're sharing the things that they wish they would have known when they were 12, things that they could do. So it's that they're all connected on their social media. So they're tagging each other and doing different stuff, which helps with that. We've had Leah Miko O'Brien, who wrote the gold standard book, that's been on, and she shared the road to success. It's a 3-time Olympic gold medalist. We're looking at getting people like Monica Abbott. We have a lot of people that we're bringing into them that they would not have access to. I'm a big advocate of that. I want to leave this sport better than I found it. And the way we do that, in my opinion, is to reach out to the people who have been there and done that before, who are in the middle of the game, who have made the mistakes, and share it and the things that they love about it. Because the bottom line is anybody who's really bitten by the bug never truly leaves the game, whether it's they transition to coaching or they transition to working for extra inning softball or they work in some capacity of it. So I'm super excited about it. We have lots of fun competitions. They do a lot of different things for social media. They do a lot of things for just us. Like we one time said, share a time when you really had your self-confidence challenged, how it went, how you got through it, and what's the difference between self-confidence and self-worth. So it's a lot of time. I think that the most exciting thing for me to see that's coming out of this group are the friendships and the bonds that are being made for our 55 plus ambassadors that we have. And they're from all over the country, from California to the East Coast, and there we've got a little communication group that we're always constantly sharing things. And I love when all of a sudden, like Thursday night, my phone starts blowing up of like, who's going to this PGF? Show me the money. And they start bantering back and forth and sharing schedules. And then, I guess it's really cool because they're like sending pictures to Katie so she gets to feel that experience of what it's like being a mom, of getting those pictures from your kids. And I think it's really, really exciting. I think our sport, as big as it is still very small. And I would love to be able to track to see out of this class, if I'm even still alive when it happens, of ambassadors, is to see if any of them end up playing in college together, or if they're playing against each other in college, is it at the fist bump going through the line is, hey, you're an extra inning softball ambassador. And I think the really cool part is we were kind of like seeing this as like a one and done type thing. And through the process of this in very short, we're looking at having 1-star, 2-star, 3-star ambassadors. And I don't know. I truly believe everything in success in life comes from networking. And the more you can put on the things that you've done, whether it's community service or being a part of an ambassador program, it's just all ways to be able to separate yourself from the other good softball players, because there's a lot of those. So what is it that you're doing that's going to separate yourself and give you that leg up over somebody? So for me, the ambassador program is just cool because I'd rather work with kids than I'd ever rather work with adults, because I like kids better than I like adults. So, we've constantly saying, it's not who you are, it's just what you do. And I think that's what's so cool is that this group of young women really keep me grounded in my why I'm working for Extra Inning and staying up late to do recordings at 9:30 at night because someone doesn't get home from practice and stuff like that. So it really is kind of my why behind the Extra Inning, because it is all about the young women. And for me, that's the coolest thing about our program.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you mentioned the community aspect, because that's what I feel like we're just one big community of people. I think that we have a little group message, and like you said, we have people all over, getting pictures. So it's been so amazing. We have girls literally aged from class of 2032, which I don't even know how old that is. It's like fourth or fifth grade. All the way to 2026. So, we have so many, like the range is so cool to see, because we have those 26 and 27s, talking to the 28s or the 2030s and 2031. So we have so much like mentorship within that. And then we have the commit crew who also mentors the older ones that are, about the end of the process. So I've loved it as well. It's such a community based thing. And then once you're ambassador, you're always an ambassador with us. And also you get to make some really fun content, which I think is really cool. And I think that makes people turn heads a little bit, because they're able to get on our page and make fun little TikTok videos. And there's some really, really awesome content that they are able to create, and they kind of get their creative juices flowing. Also a great thing on a resume. It's something that I think is a great way that if you are, maybe you are a little bit older, or 28, 27, that you're in high school trying to figure out what you want to do after high school. And maybe if you're interested in content creation and branding yourself and marketing and even all those little things, can all tie into this program and really learn how to really build your brand, how to make content, and how to just get your team involved in everything. So I'm really excited about it. I hope that if you're listening and you're interested, make sure to stay up to date on our social medias and our website. And we will have our application form out in a few months. It's just crazy to say a few months, but it really will be a few months, like August, September. So make sure that if you are interested to go and make sure you check out our social medias. We'll post everything on there. But we're really excited about our guests. So make sure you stay tuned.
Yes. And don't forget too, we always have little fun competitions on our calls that we do once a month. And a lot of our affiliates, whether it's Southern Goat or Leah Mika with her books. I know we have a Dr. Dan Walker is going to be giving us some stuff, so that we're constantly looking, because we're challenging them on the books to read. And it's all the little extras that maybe they wouldn't have knowledge about until they got to college. And so the more we can pass that torch on to them, so I think they get a lot, but I think they give a lot. And I think that's really what it's all about.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Voices from the Field. We have a really special guest today that we're very excited to bring to you guys. It is one of our very own Extra Impact ambassadors, Rylie Walker. She's a class of 2029 graduate from Monroe, Georgia, and she plays on the Tennessee Mojo 2011 team. She won our contest for the month of April for an ambassador thing we had going on. And so she won an interview with us on the podcast. And so we're very excited to talk to her about her travel softball journey, her parents' travel softball journey, and how she would empower, inspire, and support this newest generation of softball players coming up behind her. So with that being said, Rylie, thank you for being here. And just kind of tell me about how your softball journey began, both just playing the sport and then also how it kind of translated into getting into competitive ball like the Tennessee Mojo.
So I would start off by saying I first started doing ballet, and then a few years later I started doing competitive dance when I was in Arkansas, and then we moved to Georgia, and that is when I kind of wanted to change it up. And in first grade I decided to do softball, and so I got put on a Buford, Georgia rec ball team, and on the team it was very competitive. Like when I got on the team, I was like, oh, I need to step up my game. All these girls were like, and because it was my first time playing, and these girls had been playing since they were like, had they just come out of the womb and stuff.
I love that. That's awesome.
So I have a question for either Mrs. Walker or Mr. Walker. What was it that you saw in Rylie, or when you saw it that you went, you know what? I think my kid could be really good at softball.
For sure. Rylie is a competitor at heart. She does not like to lose. Whether it's comes at the table, does not want to be the last one down the stairs. It's like those little things. Like you saw, she was always wanting to compete in anything and everything that she would do. And we saw that on the ball field. And she had that desire and that drive to what to learn. We would go home and, asking mom or dad, me or dad, hey, can we go out? Can you hit me grounders? Help me field, help me learn to throw. And she was always wanting more, and so we were like, she wants it. So we kept feeding into it, but we also saw it when she did gymnastics. She was never okay with just settling. She would come home and practice the balance beam or go outside and practice her tumbling or whatever it was. She always wanted to try to be her very best in whatever she did.
Yeah. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I feel like I hear a lot too, is like when parents, I know Carrie, you've talked about this a lot with Macy, like when the kids start initiating that extra time in the cages or in the field or doing whatever, that's when you're kind of like, okay, this is something that it's not me, it's not the parent making the decision, it's the kid wanting to get better. That definitely, I know Carrie, you've said that multiple times about Macy.
Absolutely. And this is not a knock to Rylie, because I'm raising one just like you, that you compete to get dressed in the morning. Like, I'm like, can I just have my coffee, please? Like, I don't want to have to burn my throat. But then I think about it, I'm the same way, because if she initiates anything, like, I'm right in the game. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get my shoes tied before you. Like, I'm ready to go. So I think the neat thing, and I would love to hear either the parents or even Rylie explain or share with people, because I think as parents, every child is so different, and what makes every child tick is very different. But raising, I think someone who can throw 78 miles an hour like Carlin Pickens, like, I'll give some credit to Tennessee, but that's just God reaching down and touching her shoulder and saying, you're going to be blessed. Somebody who hits like Bree Ellis, I'm not taking away that she's a phenomenal hitter, but God reached down and said, sister, you're going to be able to hit Carlin Pickens. Mm-hmm. And I also think with daughters like Rylie and my own, like those kids that are competitive, that are truly in this day and age, because don't get me on my soapbox about every kid gets a trophy right now, but the kids that are really super competitive, it's very challenging as a parent to raise them, because we're not living in a society that says, hey, it's okay for you to just beat the tar out of someone, and that's okay. Work hard and go do it. So I would love to hear from either of you the challenges maybe you faced as parents, facing as parents of raising those, because I'd love to hear, maybe I'll learn something today that'll help me with mine.
Well, I could start. I'll tell you, incredibly challenging at times because she's so competitive. What we've tried to do is essentially raise her, creating a standard. I've kind of asked her 3 questions. We both do. At a young age, did she try her best? Did she have fun? And was she a great teammate? We don't really even talk about winning. I've tried to diminish that a little bit, because we've talked about as if you own your role. If you focus on those things, you're going to help your team win. And so what we've tried to do is look for ways to reinforce that. So, for example, if I want to ask her, was she a great teammate? Well, if her teammate made a great play, did she go out there and glove tap? Those are like the little things that I'm looking for as a parent. And that's what I talk about with her at the end of the game. I'm like, hey, I saw that great glove tap right there. That was you being a great teammate. So that's kind of how we've dealt with it a little bit as a parent. Ultra competitive in everything that she does. And it's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. So kind of going off of that, because you mentioned, being a good teammate and making sure you did your best, you did everything you could. Talk about, Rylie and your parents, talk about the lessons you've learned throughout this travel ball journey. Obviously, you're still really new into it. You still have, another 4 years because you're 8th grade. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have like 5 more summers. So obviously you still have more to learn, but just going in this far, what are some big lessons you guys have learned both on the field and off the field, whether it comes to like balancing your school and then also traveling all the time, being a good teammate, joining new teams? Like, tell me about those lessons that you've learned that are really important in her growth and in y'all's journey.
I think some lessons that I've learned is that you have to find a perfect balance between, because you can't do too much softball and then like not have enough social life or have enough time to do schoolwork. because I like to get my schoolwork done. I don't like to be someone who turns in late assignments, and I have to have a balance for homework and spending time with my family, and then also like reading my Bible nightly and praying to God. And then like at times, my family time is when we eat dinner. We just talk about our days and like how we've been, and they'll sometimes like help me with softball. And then I also have to balance like with practices and then games and then making goals for myself to make sure that to give myself a challenge to not just go out there and have fun, but make it even more fun by trying to set a goal and achieving that goal.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
Well, Rylie, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of step in it because you opened up the doors and I absolutely love it. And I think you've heard about it when we meet and stuff, that you set the standard, that you have the cross and God set right in the middle. It kind of explains the whole thing. And I guess the whole conversation could be over for me. I'm like, okay, peace out. I know she's going to be successful. Let's leave and go. But I would love to take that and ask you, and even your parents maybe, like ways that you look for to speak his name on the field, whether it's with your teammates or umpires or just whatever. How is it? Because that's the one thing I'm always challenging my daughter. Like at the end of it, like you're getting ready to go through the recruiting process or start it. And, the whole time she was going through it, me coaching as long as I did and everything we've always talked about, it was really an amazing concept to see the pressures become so big. And literally when I said to her, I'm like, look, God already knows where you're going. It's just your gift unwrapped. Like, so just slow down, trigger, back up and keep it in the middle. So I would love to hear how do you share it with your team? How do you look for ways to maybe share Christ with opposing teams?
Well, first of all, we pray before every game and after game as a team. And even like when other teams don't want to pray, we still like do our own prayer to make sure that we're all like just sharing the joy of God. And I know that like most of us love just like, I think just talking about him together. And when like you can tell with other teams when you pray with them, like some of them enjoy doing the prayers and getting to worship God like together with multiple people, not just being by yourself, but like just sharing that joy. And also like lifting up people and being like God is watching over you, kind of like just know that like in everything you do that he's going to be with you. So like when you strike out or make an error in the field, he knew that was going to happen, but like and you can still be like, you're going to make more mistakes, but he's always going to be there with you when you're going to make them.
That's cool. Never forget, iron sharpens iron. And one of two reasons, Rylie, he's either using you to speak his name and change someone's life, or he's using someone to speak his name to you and change your life.
I love that. Okay, speaking of the recruiting process a little bit, like I said, I know you're in 8th grade, so you're not at junior year, September 1, all that fun stuff. But I would be amiss to say that, it kind of starts earlier than that, even though you can't technically get recruited till junior year. I know it starts a lot earlier than that. So I kind of want to ask you, going into, freshman year, this coming fall, starting that high school journey, what are you preparing for? Or how are you preparing? I really want to get a feel. I feel like we've talked to a lot of girls that are sophomores and juniors that are, kind of already got that ball rolling, but I haven't really talked to someone that's your age that, you're kind of starting to get your feet wet in it. So kind of give me, an overview of how do you start preparing? Do you have anything in mind? Have you heard some good advice that you're going to plan to take into your recruiting process? Kind of tell me all those different things. I'm very interested to hear it.
So I think I am looking forward to the process and getting to visit camps, meeting new coaches, and learning about like different schools. I'm looking forward to studying what each school has to offer to study because I'm not sure what I want to do yet going into college.
Me neither, Rylie. Don't worry about it. Me neither.
Still trying to figure that one out.
Yes, right.
I just refuse to grow up. I've decided I'm just going to be a kid my whole life.
Right.
I also know that everything is important, and the way I warm up, the way I take the field, how hard I play, and I know someone is always watching. So my mom's cousin actually told me he was a professional golfer, and his son is going into college baseball. He said, as soon as you step in between the white lines on the field, just know someone is always watching. If it's a spectator, another player, someone younger, a college, like just a coach, just know that someone's always watching. So always give your 100% effort and fall on a smile and just like have a blast. Like I'd say just go out there and try your all. Like,
Yes.
I have been around coaches my entire life, growing up a coach's kid, and I'm aware that everything I do is being critiqued, but I'm trying to be better than I was than yesterday by always being like getting 1% improving on the little things that I need to work on, but I also like to have fun while I'm doing them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I know that when we had an interview a while back with a Division 1 coach out of South Alabama, and that was her number one thing. She was like, "We look for kids that are playing not to get a scholarship; they're playing the game because they love the game, you know." And she's like, a lot of times people kind of get caught up in playing for the scholarship instead of playing because you love the game and you're playing competitive. So I love that. That's a very, very good idea going into your recruiting process for sure.
I would love to ask either of you as parents, like, share some of your advice of how you've gotten, obviously, an 8th grader to think more like most 12th graders that I was recruiting, that I would love for them to think. Obviously, you know, everyone's going to make mistakes. We still do. But what are some of the things that you go, man, I wish I would have known in starting this and helping Rylie, or this is what I would share to somebody that is getting a kid to go from ballet into softball? Because obviously those are two completely different worlds. So I would love to hear any insight, either from a mom's perspective or a dad's perspective, or both, because I think those are both very different.
Mom, you want to start?
You know, I grew up a gymnast though too, but a volleyball player. So like when she wanted to do gymnastics, I'm like, yeah, so exciting, you know. And then when she was like, okay, I want to play softball. And I was like, I know nothing about this sport, but you know what? Let's do this. And seeing her grow and just like want more and just come into just like, she was always wanting to know more, whether it's asking questions like, how do I do this? Or how do I do that? What's the best way to do this? Just, it was never enough. It's when it was like that click of, this is probably her thing. You know, and she's got so much grit to her that she is there really is no words to explain it. Like, she's something special. And I know she's my kid, so of course I'm going to say that and be biased, but there is just something special about her with watching her drive and determination with it all. But she's got a good head on her shoulders, and a lot of it she hears coming from Dad, who used to coach. And with that, she has heard a lot with him doing recruiting and stuff like that. So she's heard a lot in the background, you know, so being, I guess, in the realm of the world as well with that.
Biggest thing from Dad's advice is enjoy the ride. I'm big into process-based kind of stuff. So what I look at is, first of all, competitive softball is incredibly exciting to watch. To watch these young ladies at 10U making wow plays, spectacular plays. And I'm a former baseball player myself, and I'm sitting there saying, my goodness, how'd they do that? And what I realized throughout the process of just sitting there watching her over and over and over was, let's say you play 9 games in a weekend. You have 18 to 20 at-bats. That's an extraordinary rate to grow as a person. So you have to be able to handle failure because you're isolated. You could be at bat right there and you don't come through for your team. You got to be able to handle failure, and you've got to be able to bounce right back in, play the next game, or you have to learn how to handle success. And so I think, using my background as a coach, but as a dad, sitting there watching this, I said, okay, I really believe in continuing to teach the process of what it takes to win and be a great teammate. And so that's the biggest advice I have, is enjoy the ride, because you're getting to watch these girls compete, and they're spectacular. It's a lot of fun.
Well, not to mention, we all have to take out 3rd and 4th jobs to support the sport. So you better enjoy the ride.
Right.
Yeah, you better get a wagon, right?
You better enjoy the ride. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the thing that I love to hear, what I'm hearing from you, and it's so refreshing to hear this from parents, is that the one thing, you know, in coaching, as long as I have at the elite level, and then raising a kid that I begged to play golf because I just wanted to sit in a clubhouse and see the cute little outfits and say, hey, how was your day? And not sit out at fields from 8 a.m. till 2:00 a.m. I think the thing that I'm hearing that you say is like, the very first thing I go up to my daughter, whether she's successful or not, is just go, man, I love watching you play. Like, I love watching you play. And here she is. I almost said 16. She just turned 17. Yesterday, she's getting ready to start her senior year at high school, committed to Arkansas. And I'm like, I looked at her, I said, you realize you've already played more in your career than what you have left. And, for the mother of a girl, it's so sad because I'm like, you guys are good enough to keep playing and going on. And maybe that will happen, but maybe you're meant to be the generation to change that for your children. Yes. And so I think that's the thing I just love hearing, because the questions that you're asking Rylie is, I just love watching her play. When she does really bad, I still love watching her play. When she does really good, I still love watching her play. And at the end, it's just a game, and I think that's what's so cool to hear. And some of that is probably because you're a coach. I've had that advantage of being a coach. When you stand in the other side and you're dealing with other people's children, it makes it easier to go, hey, note to self, that was not really cool as a parent, or that was really cool. And you kind of take your own notes. So I just love absolutely hearing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we only have one more question for Rylie and we'll let you guys go. But I just want to hear from you, Rylie. Looking at, our ambassador program is all about empowering, inspiring, and supporting, and really being that role model and mentor for the younger generation of athletes. So if you had someone listening or watching right now, say she's 8 years old, she just picked up a bat and a ball, and she's like, hey, I kind of like this sport. What would you want to tell her that maybe she's looking up to you, wanting to follow in your footsteps?
I would say, actually, a few pieces of advice. First, I would say always try your best. Give everything you have, because you don't know the next time that you'll be able to step on the field. Just give it your all and do everything with 100%, 110%, really, and just do it all. And then another piece is is ABC. So when I was younger, when my dad would strap me in my seat in the car, he would always say, ABC, Rylie, always be competing. So I grew up with that, just saying ABC and always be competing. And then another piece of advice would be is that everybody is important on your team. Everyone has like a role. Like, you didn't get put on the team just to fill a spot. You got put on the team because the team needed you and you have your role to play. Like, you can't show up one day and be like, I don't want to be here right now. I'm just not going to do my job, because then it's a team sport. So then you're going to allow the team to fail, because you succeed as a team and you fail as a team. So it's not just a one person deal. You have to know you're a team and know that everyone is important. And then another piece of advice I have is work hard for what you want.
Yeah. Those are awesome. Those are great pieces of advice.
Well, Rylie, I don't know, but you have what I call it. So don't lose it and let softball be your platform that you use to share it. Because I have a feeling you're going to leave the world a little bit better than you found it. And that's all that you're ever charged to do. If I was still recruiting, I'd probably break some recruiting violations and start talking to you about coming to my school to come play for me, because there's a lot of really good softball players, but there's not a lot of really good softball players that have it. And you certainly do.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you, Rylie. Thank you, Rylie's parents, for jumping on this call. We are so excited to put this out. I think that a lot of people are going to love listening to it. And I'm very excited to be able to share with everybody. So thank you again. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode with Rylie Walker and her parents. We love being able to kind of dive into what makes her tick, what makes her great, and what she's doing to prepare herself for the recruiting process, and really just entering into that travel softball world, especially going into high school. So love being able to talk to her. We feel so lucky to be able to have her as one of our extra impact ambassadors. She is such a great representation of what it means to empower, inspire, and support the softball community. So we're very appreciative of her. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew about our coach nominations that are open through May 31st. It is for 10 and 12U coaches. So if you have a coach that coaches that age group and you want to recognize them and honor them, make sure to head on over to our website, extrainningsoftball.com, and nominate your coach before the nominations close May 31st. We are rolling out our class of 2027 rankings right now. So if you nominated somebody for the class of 2027 rankings, we will be releasing those every single day for the next few weeks. And then we'll have our hitters rankings for that class, and being able to roll that out is so exciting. Love being able to highlight them and those players' amazing accomplishments. They are so talented. It was one of our biggest nomination pools that we've had in a very long time. So love how much the 2027 class is representing the softball community, and they are full of studs. So go check that out if you nominated a player, and make sure to follow us on Spotify for the podcast for notifications on when we post every Saturday, and make sure to tune in on our social media pages for any updates on deadlines or any exciting announcements that we will have. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.